The highest law in the country now. Human Rights Day in South Africa is linked with the 21st of March 1960 and the events of Sharpeville. And on that day, 69 people died and 180 others were wounded when police fired on a peaceful crowd that had gathered in protest against the past laws. Now, this day has gone on to become an iconic day in our country's history. And now we'll go back to the Constitution Hill, where Pearl is standing by. A very good morning to you again, Pearl.
Good morning, Sims. Yes, indeed, we are still here at the Human Rights Festival that's been taking place over the last 3 days here at Constitution Hill. I've been seeing little kiddies walking up to take part in their walk, which is called We the Children Walk. Of course, it's a 1 kilometer walk, and it's really an opportunity for them to learn about their rights and responsibilities, as well as the country's constitution. But with me now is Melita Steele, and she's a campaign manager at Peace for Africa, and she'll just be talking to us about their role and what they've been doing here over the last few days. Melita, welcome to Morning Live. Quickly take us through what your organization has been doing over the last few days here.
Hi, good morning. So Greenpeace Africa really believes that water is a human right, and it's inextricably linked to our right to a healthy environment. And so what we've been doing here is we have a couple of stands where people can find out more about Greenpeace Africa. We also ran a dialogue yesterday around what it means to have water as a human right. And we especially see the big problem that has emerged, which is the inequality around water. So the fact that millions of South Africans are living with day zero every day because they don't have access to water. And at the same time, we have these mega water users who use massive amounts of water.
What are some of the programs that your organization has been running to educate the masses, educate ordinary South Africans about preserving water? Because, as you say, it's one of the fundamental human rights of our people.
So Greenpeace Africa works fundamentally on climate change in South Africa. And of course, the water crisis is exactly related to climate change. So climate change causes extreme weather. So a couple of days ago in Joburg, we had massive flooding, and we have a drought across 3 provinces. So at the beginning of this year, we actually ran quite a big petition to try and get the three drought-affected provinces declared a national disaster. And then a couple of weeks later, that was done. And we work really around the shift away from coal and nuclear towards renewable energy. So a lot of our programs are aimed at removing the barriers to renewable energy, which is really what will create a sustainable future in South Africa.
Are you finding that people are getting educated or are taking heed of the call to save water, to preserve water? Are South Africans taking that seriously, or do you think it's something that we're still taking for granted and that we still have a long way to go with that?
I think it's different. So obviously, if you're living in Cape Town and you're on 50 litres of water per day, water is top of mind. But I think just talking to people in Johannesburg, it's very easy to forget that there is actually a drought in South Africa. So I think definitely water is high on the agenda. I don't think that we take water seriously enough in South Africa, and we definitely don't take the fact that we must have a more just allocation of water in South Africa seriously, and especially holding mega water users accountable. Eskom uses a massive 10,000 litres of water per day, and that's because of their coal-fired power stations. So Greenpeace is really here today because we believe water is a human right and we must defend our right to water.
So what are some of the other programs that you have lined up for your calendar this year in terms of educating South Africans, in terms of getting people involved? Earlier on, you told us about a volunteering sign-up store that you guys do have here at the moment. How can South Africans come on board, and what else is on your calendar for the rest of the year?
So Greenpeace welcomes volunteers. We have a very young volunteer program in Johannesburg, so now is exactly the time to join. So there's a stand here at the Constitution Hill where you can sign up. We also have a stand here, so Greenpeace doesn't accept any money from governments or corporations. So people donate to us every month. So we have a stand here where people can sign up, but we also have a website. Just search for Greenpeace Africa online, and you can find out more about supporting us there. We really, Greenpeace Africa's slogan is People, Action, Solutions, and that's what we stand for, and we believe that together we really can create a better future.
All right, and just your closing message to South Africans in our daily lives, how can we go about saving water? What are just some of the strategies that we could use to make sure that we use as little as possible and to be considerate of those people who have little or no water for things like sanitation?
I think there are small steps that people can take, and there are big steps. So one of the steps you can take is starting to look at what kind of organizations are working on water and advocating and joining them, supporting them, volunteering. But the smaller things that you can do in your house include making sure you don't have dripping taps, making sure you're taking a shower that isn't too long, making sure you have a brick in your toilet. You know, these are all small things that people can do that can really make a difference. In the end, water is life and we cannot live without it. So we really need to defend our right to it.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for your time this morning.
Thank you very much, Pearl.
Well, that is, of course, Melita Steele, who is the campaign manager at Greenpeace. They've been doing a lot in terms of trying to get people aware of how they can, protect the water resources that we do have in our country and that we use it as wisely as possible, because access to water is indeed a fundamental human right. Well, Simpiwe, that is where I will leave it from here at the Con Hill in Johannesburg. I did promise earlier on that I'll be doing my 5-kilometer walk, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. It's called We the People, 5 kilometers, and it's also an opportunity, as I said, to talk around human rights, to have these discussions that are important around protecting and preserving human rights, and of course to get educated around our constitution. So I think when you're done with the show, you need to come down here and take part in some of the activities that will be happening. Earlier on, PJ Powers did perform her new song, A Walk in My Shoes, which people absolutely loved. People who are here were singing along and dancing along with her. So I think her message here as well came across quite strongly. Well, from myself, Pearl Shongwe, from the Constitutional Hill in Johannesburg, it's a wrap and goodbye from me.
Well, Pearl, I'll only come there just to make sure that I see you walking. But thanks for that. That was my colleague Pearl Shongwe speaking to us live from the Constitution Hill in Johannesburg. Well, the big